Hello, my name is Morgan Prost, and I am going to be doing my presentation today on Harley Davidson. Just a brief company overview here to start out. Harley Davidson was established in 1903 by William S. Harley and Arthur Davidson. They really brought to life the American spirit that was embodied in the power of the motorcycle. They used them for races, and eventually they caught on and became a recreational enjoyment for the American people. Harley Davidson is based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Their bikes are sold across the world in Asia, Europe, the Middle East, as well as South and Central America. As of December 31st, in 2016, they distributed bikes to dealers in 97 different countries. Models range from a cruiser, touring bike, and a sports bike. Currently managing Harley Davidson is President and CEO Matthew S. Levitich. He received his undergraduate's degree in mechanical engineering from Rensselaer Polytech Institute. His graduate's degree is in engineering management. He has an MBA in marketing, finance, and organizational behavior from Northwestern University. He has been with Harley Davidson for 24 years, and he also serves on the board of directors. As the Chief Operations Officer, Michelle A. Cumbier. She has her undergraduate degree in marketing from Lakeland College and an MBA from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. She spent 11 years at Kohler and has spent the past 21 years in Harley Davidson, and she's been increasingly in greater and greater positions of responsibility. Harley Davidson truly has three major business segments, not including Harley Davidson financial services, which I will not be focusing on in this presentation. But there are three major ones under Harley Davidson Motors is motorcycles, which we covered the cruiser, touring bike, and sports bike previously. The parts and accessories to replace broken parts on bikes and to customize bikes for those who are interested in doing that, and then general merchandise such as jackets, gear, swag, whatever you'd like to call it. There's plenty of that out there. And then there is a small percentage that goes towards other things of which were not disclosed. Harley Davidson does have an international presence. They are predominantly in the United States, which is where they do a majority of their business. 67.7% of their products revenue distribution is in the United States. However, they also have distribution centers in Europe, Japan, Canada, Australia, and other countries as well. Their manufacturing locations are in Missouri, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Australia, Brazil, India, and Thailand. Some notable financial statistics from the previous year in 2017. They had 1.18 billion in sales, general and admin. They had 521 million in net income from continuing operations. They had a 24% decrease in net income from 2016, which is pretty significant. And their net income was 521 million. And then finally, they have 735 million in cash and cash equivalents from investments at year end as of 2017. Some financial ratios to look at here for Harley Davidson. I stuck to the 5 major categories that we had in the book. For liquidity, I picked current, which is 1.2. Asset management, I chose total asset turnover, which is 0.56. For debt management, total debt to assets is 81.5%. For profitability, the return on common equity is 29.1%. And for market value, price earnings, or PE ratio, is 29.1%. Harley Davidson's stock stats. HOG is their stock symbol. Currently, their stock price per share is $44.27. Their market cap is $7.4 billion. Their 52-week range is $40.02, and at the highest it was $55.95. Their dividend yield is 3.34%, and their shares outstanding is 166.6 million. Looking at Harley Davidson's overall stock performance, as it compares to both the automotive industry and the S&P 500, we're looking at that 5 years first, starting at 2014. We can kind of see at the start how it is kind of still trending up, and then since about 2015, we've been on a slow downward trend along with the automotive industry as a whole. So keeping pace with the automotive industry in that downward trend, which is not good, but it still shows that there are other companies who are experiencing possibly similar financial difficulties that Harley Davidson has been running into over the past 3 years. Looking at the 10-year, it's very different. Starting back in 2009, we can kind of see the ups and downs over the course of time, and it's matching pretty similarly up until those last couple years on where the S&P 500 is charting, as well as where the Harley Davidson stock is in comparison to the automobile industry. So still significantly less, in my opinion, than what the average is, I would say, for the automotive industry, but still progressive growth at that. Harley Davidson does pay dividends quarterly. If we look back to 2016, we can see that they were at 35 cents per share. And all the way up to now in 2017, we're up by 2 cents, slowly increasing over the course of time, which is a good sign for investors. Even with the poor performance in the stock market in comparison to the competition, their dividends are pretty decent for the growth that is expected for the stock in comparison to, say, General Motors. More of a current chart here for the earnings per share projections, and looking a little bit back into 2017, we can see that we have continued to have an increase in what the expected earnings per share is going to be. And also looking at the projections for 2019, it looks to be about the same for what 2018 has currently been. And we will continue to keep an eye on that as that progresses through the year. Harley Davidson does have future goals in mind, finding a niche for the younger generation. People around my age and of the millennial generation aren't necessarily as interested in buying motorcycles, so they're finding ways to appeal to that generation. They are rolling out a new line of electric motorcycles in 2019. It's also part of finding that niche. Continuing to promote a healthy corporate culture. They are well known for being a good business to work for. Growth of brand awareness. This is a quote from the president that I mentioned earlier, Matthew. More roads to Harley Davidson. That's their growth plan through 2022. So finding different avenues that could bring people into the business, really. And then an increase in value and presence worldwide. Another quote from Matthew. Harley Davidson has objectives for 2027 to increase focus and strategic investment to reinvigorate the U.S. business while accelerating the pace of international growth. In conclusion, I really have 2 things to say. I would suggest buying and holding. If you are a current shareholder, Harley Davidson is not going anywhere, and neither should you. They have strong leadership and a good outlook on the developments of future markets and customers. Their quarterly dividends continue to increase despite low stock price growth, and long-term trends for their stocks has been upward. I would suggest not buying, however, if you have a short-term investment strategy. This is not the stock that you want to be putting into your portfolio. They have a poor short-term stock performance, and a decrease in sales over the past 3 years does not show good signs for immediate returns. However, that does not have to say that the long-term strategy and approaches of their leadership will not mean good things to come. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for your time.